Hello, and this video is on police background investigations, video number 2. And I wanted to talk a few minutes with you to address drug usage. Part of your police background packet will ask you about what type of drugs you've tried, experimented, are currently using, last time you used, etc. And the time to recognize the impact that taking drugs does to your life and to your future background in terms of a law enforcement position, the time to talk about that is now. So at the end of the background packet, they're going to be asking you a bunch of questions. What drugs have you used? How many times? Was it experimental? What about alcohol? How often do you drink? Are you an occasional drinker? Are you do you have to drink every day, which would qualify you as an alcoholic? And then as far as drugs, what type of drugs? How many times have you used it? One of the questions that is asked during my regular classes lately is I have students that have the marijuana card, and they want to know, is that going to impact my future background in law enforcement? And my steady fast answer is yes, absolutely. It's going to impact your future background in law enforcement. My hair's flying all over the place here. And so it's important that you, if you have a marijuana card and you're currently using marijuana on a daily basis, it is an instant disqualifier for a position in law enforcement. Instant. I mean, it's not even a thought. Even though at the state level the laws have changed, which allow people to use marijuana for recreational use or for medicinal use. If you're trying to get into law enforcement, you're not going to get a job if you have a marijuana card and you're using marijuana on a daily basis. And so that's important for you to know. Alcohol, as I mentioned earlier, is very important. It's one thing that you have an occasional drink with your friends, and that's every other month or once a month or a couple times a month, that's fine. But if you're having to drink every day, once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, you're considered an alcoholic, and it's going to have a detrimental impact on your police background investigations. And so what if you've experimented and it was just recent? Well, the way most police background investigations are conducted, they want you to have at least 3 years from the last date of use. So if you used in high school, for example, now you're in college, you have to kind of keep in mind that you have to put in at least 3 years time between the last time you used and now. And so what about other drugs? What about prescription medications? Some of you are currently taking prescription medications. You have to list all of them. And so this is why, if you have me in classes, I'm always saying how important it is for you to be careful about what type of prescription drugs you are taking. Every prescribed drug that you put into your body has side effects, and some people choose to ignore the side effects, but they have side effects. So sometimes you take prescription medication for one problem and it causes several other problems. And so as a former background investigator, I will tell you that if you're currently taking prescription medication, we have to kind of look at that and see what type of prescription medication are you taking. Is it antidepressants? Is it for some type of condition? Maybe you have acid reflux. You're taking something for your acid to minimize the acid in your stomach. I mean, those are kind of different. And so if you pass the background portion that deals with narcotics, with drugs, you are going to be, once you receive a conditional job offer, you're going to be required to go to a medical facility and provide a blood sample. And when they make a conditional job offer, they will then ask you questions like, have you had any previous injuries or surgeries that we need to know about? And they're trying to make sure you qualify for the job. So they won't ask you those questions until they make a conditional job offer. But once that conditional job offer is made, they can ask you questions. What type of surgeries have you had? What type of injuries in the past? Have you had a back injury? A lot of times, if you had a back injury, it disqualifies you from active law enforcement employment. I know some of you try to get into the military, and if you have bottom, flat feet, you don't have the arch in the military, you're disqualified based on that. Well, in law enforcement, we don't disqualify you based on that. However, if you've had a previous back injury, back surgery, to the point where it's going to affect your performance in the police academy and on the street, on patrol, or what type of law enforcement activity you're going to be doing, because you're going to be using your physical strength to affect arrests, to hold weapons, to pick up weight, etc. So that's important for you to know. So back to what I was saying a few seconds earlier, when you are given a promotional conditional offer of employment, that's when the employer is allowed to ask you those medical questions. And so some of you have talked to your friends, and your friends have told you that you can buy urine on the internet in order to pass the urine test. And maybe some employers, you're able to do that and you're able to bypass the system. Somewhat unethical, I say very unethical. But let's just say that maybe you've done that, or you've heard from your friends. I will tell you that when you apply for a law enforcement position, you're going to have to give a blood sample, and it's going to be administered by a nurse, and that blood is going to be checked to see what's in your system. So you can't go out and buy blood plasma on the internet and be able to put it into your body and then get a sample. So it's going to disqualify you immediately. So if you are using narcotics, if you are excessively using prescription medication, you need to make some decisions on your background investigation process, and you need to do it earlier. I don't want you to be wasting your time taking criminal justice courses if you intend to basically blow it because you continue to take drugs and you're not paying attention to the advice that I'm giving you on these videos. So I will conclude this video. I want to keep it short. As always, email me any questions or concerns. I'm going to continue posting these about the police background investigation, because I believe that you need to be aware of what you need to fix in your personal life in order to be prepared for that future career in law enforcement that the majority of you, many of you, want to do. So thank you for listening, and stay focused. We'll talk to you soon.